unafraid. Wrighster or wrong. We're going to get started today. We got a couple good things for you guys, I think, at least as usual. First of which is, so preseason games are going on. Odell Beckham Jr. may be hurt, may not be hurt. The severity of it is not known. I think he should sit out. Then there's these Ezekiel Elliott overreaction. What's going on? And also, what the heck is going on with the Browns players? The Browns players took a knee. Are you mad at that? Now, that's the real question, right? Are you mad at it? Because I want to know. Send in your comments. We'll get to them. Are you upset that the Browns players, that they took a knee? And how are you weighing in on the whole Odell Beckham Jr. thing, with him potentially getting hurt? So I'll start with Odell. So last night we saw Odell Beckham. He got hurt in the game on a hit that some people are deeming low. Some people are deeming it wasn't necessary. All these things, preseason game. But in the reality of stuff, just that this is a football game. You can get hurt. These things are normal. Like, this is not abnormal for you to get hurt in a football game. And yes, the NFL has created a situation to where you have players have to hit low. Otherwise, they'll be fined. They'll be kicked out of the league, miss games, all that. Here's one thing that we miss out on and we don't pay attention to when it comes to athletes' salaries. Because a lot of times we get to trying to count their money. We get to trying to tell a guy what he should be doing, how he should be playing, how much money he should be taking. You at your job, don't you try to maximize your earnings at your job? If there were any way that you had leverage to make more money, wouldn't you take advantage and exercise that? Especially if you had a job to where you were going to play a finite amount of time and you needed to maximize those earnings. Wouldn't you try to maximize those earnings? Or might that not make too much sense? Might that make too much sense for you to maximize your earnings? Because I would. That's what every player is trying to do. He is just trying to make as much money as he can while he's given this opportunity. God has blessed him with this opportunity. And everything's relative. Because I get the fact where people say, oh, well, these NFL players, these NBA players that make millions of dollars, what's the difference between $5 million and $10 million? Up $5 million. And it's a finite amount of time that you can make this money. So why try to control what somebody else is doing? And remember, when he went down, I tweeted out, I said, the next time that you get to trying to dictate what a player does and criticize him for holding out, remember this. Remember what happened to Odell last night. Remember what happened to him. When you get to criticizing the player for that. He's just trying to maximize his earnings. And if I were him, I would not step back on the field in a game until I get paid. He's only making $1.7 million this year. Yes, that's a lot of money for a working class guy. Yes, that's a lot of money in the rest of the world. But for an NFL player who is one of the best players in the league and probably arguably the best receiver that we have ever seen through his first 3 seasons, that's not a lot of money. That's why for the NFL to actually change these contract situations, you're going to have big name free agents like Odell Beckham, like the Richard Shermans of the world, the quarterbacks even, to sign shorter term deals with fully guaranteed money. Because then you don't get into these situations where your deal is backloaded. You're playing for a lower salary than what you're worth. You can't get from underneath it. 3-year deal, maximum money, guaranteed. But you know who doesn't want that? The owners don't want that. The reason why the owners don't want that is because they can amortize the guaranteed money over the life of the deal. So they want 6-7-year deals, of course. Of course they want long deals because then they can spread that money out over the salary cap over all those years. But if players are smart, which they are becoming more business savvy, they'll sign shorter deals. That way you can get from up underneath it. And then there's the argument, well, if you don't play well, they can cut you. They're going to cut you anyway because these deals are backloaded. They're not designed to see the end of 5 years if you play well. Unless you're a quarterback, it's not happening. So they're not designed to do that. They are team-friendly deals. And until players really realize that they have the power to affect change, A. And the second thing, B, is that don't be in love with a big number, a big fake number. Yes, you can sign $100 million deal, but if you're only going to get 35 or 40 million of it, what difference does it make if that number is $1 billion if you're not going to see it? That's where our players' mentalities have been wrong for so long. You have to change how you look at it. And if I'm Odell, I'm saying, hold up. I make $5 million from Nike, $1.7 million for the Giants. So I need to do at this point in time what is best for my Nike career, which is to not get hurt. And until the Giants become my main employer, oh yeah, I'm doing what's in the business of Odell. Because the Giants are not his main employer. Your main employer is the person who pays you the most money. Just like LeBron James. Is LeBron James playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers? Or is he paying for the team that's going to, or the corporation team, whatever, that's going to pay him $1 billion in Nike? Which team is he really loyal to? He left Cleveland before. He ain't leaving Nike. See, that's the difference. That is the difference. We'll get to the kneeling in a minute. Because through Odell's first 3 seasons, 43 games, 288 receptions, 4,100 yards, 35 touchdowns. Jerry Rice, 3 seasons, 44 games, 200 receptions, 3,500 yards, and 40 touchdowns. Randy Moss, 48 games, 266 receptions, 4,100 yards, and 43 TDs. Yes, so Odell's on pace to be one of the most prolific receivers that we have ever seen. Yes, he's super emotional. Yes, all these things. But the kid is good. The kid is ridiculous. Another dude that's ridiculous right now is Odell Beckham. I'm sorry, is Ezekiel Elliott. I was frustrated when I got up this morning, looking around, seeing around, and I see that he was on a boat on his day off, and people are criticizing the man for being on a boat on his day off. What? He said, oh, it's a bad look for his image. He's out in a party place on a boat, and there are girls in bikinis there. That's just not the place to be. What? He's 22 years old. Where else do you want the kid to be? It's his day off. He's doing exactly what you do on your day off. Then I thought about it. Do you know who criticizes him for doing this? The people who couldn't get invited to the boat party. If you are criticizing Odell for him wanting to sit out and maximize his earnings, or you are criticizing Ezekiel Elliott for what he's doing on his day off, that's jealousy. I mean, that is nothing other than jealousy. Because you want to be them, so you're upset. You're like, no, I know what he should be better doing. I know. I hate that. Oh, man. Look at him out there. So maybe Ezekiel Elliott was drinking. No. Reports have from everybody, the people who secretly took pictures and recorded him, said they didn't see him drinking. He was hopping from boat to boat, just hanging out with people. That sounds like an ambassador to the community to me. A 22-year-old, yes, he wants to hang out with hot girls in bikinis. Don't blame him there. I was trying to do the same thing at 22. That doesn't mean he's not immature, because I do believe that. But in terms of a bad guy and criticizing him for being on a boat in the preseason on a day off, oh yeah, no. No. I can't find any fault. I can't find anything wrong with that. Do you guys see any fault with that? Because I don't. Not at all. It would be different if it was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And he's out, maybe has practice the next day. Then maybe you can say something because your body needs sleep. If you get hurt, all these things, maybe, just maybe I can listen to that. But the sun is still out and it's the man's off day. Looks like a relaxing day to me. I would love to be that. That's what I would like to do on my time off. That's what we go on vacation to do. That's what people go do on the weekends. So why can't an athlete do it? Because I love the fact that people try to judge what pro athletes need to do to be ready to play. And then if something bad happens, oh no, it's because you're not focused. Odell drops a ball. He was on a boat 2 weeks before that. Oh, he's not focused. What? The game is over a week away. And that's a great point. In the 80s and 90s, these dudes were way worse because there was no social media. I mean, think about the behavior that we see from athletes, artists, and entertainers now, right? A lot of that is tapered and watered down now because they know everybody has cameras and everybody's watching. Everybody's watching, so you have to be super careful about what you are doing and what you're caught doing and what people have seen you doing because it will be exposed. Players in the 70s, 80s, 90s, they're running around doing whatever the hell they wanted to do. Imagine if people had camera phones following Michael Jordan around. Oh my God, he wouldn't sell half the shoes that he does now. Michael Irving, agreed. Oh boy, I mean, he even got in trouble. He wouldn't even have a job right now if there were cameras and social media back then. Not just him. I mean, imagine what Roger Clemens said to his teammates. Imagine what Larry Bird said to his teammates. Imagine what John Havlicek, Red Auerbach said. There's the idea that, oh, they need to be more careful. How can you possibly be more careful when you are 22 years old and you have a pocket full of money and you go places and do things that normal people do? If you aren't doing anything wrong, how much more careful can you be? You can't be any more careful. I remember when I got in the league, speaking of the Cowboys party house that was called the White House. I remember when I first got in the league. People, they were talking about the White House, and we actually in Jacksonville contemplated doing something like this. But in reality, what good is that? I mean, we hear tales and stories of the White House. Social media came, you had no chance. No chance. It would have been awful. Last thing is the Browns. You guys, thank you guys for joining me. Make sure that you guys share the feed. Appreciate you guys coming in every day. The Browns players, they took a knee, right? During the national anthem, at least 12 of them, white players, black players. Some people had their hand on other people's shoulders. So I want to know how you guys feel about that. How do you feel about that? Yeah, Snapchat would have killed that, and also Snapchat is getting ready to be dead anyway. But because here's what I look at the taking a knee. First of all, it's people's right in this country to do that. It's their right. And it has started a dialogue. It has continued a conversation. Think about this. The protests that have been happening lately, the Confederate monuments coming down, they can all be traced back to Kaepernick in terms of him saying, you know what? I'm going to stand up for this cause. I am going to be the person who's willing to stick my neck out and my career out for this cause. I don't agree with him not voting. And I want him to speak out. I've said those two things. I do want Kaepernick to speak out and say what his intentions are. However, he has continued a conversation and he's actually helped giving a power to the powerless, a voice to the voiceless. So now these issues can't be ignored, because there was the idea that, that these things, that there was no more racism in the country, that you had a black president, that everything was fixed. That's not true. Then there's people who say, oh, keep politics. Keep politics out of sports. Politics are always involved in sports. Always. You just don't necessarily always pay attention to it. The United States boycotted an Olympics. The United States boycotted the Olympics in 1980. Boycotted it. And then when they were held in Berlin, they almost boycotted it then. Politics are always a part of sports. And the biggest reason why politics are always involved in sports, because they have always been used to affect change in a positive way. Getting attention for the issues is one thing. What do you mean, what comes after that? I don't understand what you mean, what comes after that. Because these things are positive. Sports is one of those things that's able to bring things to bring people together, because it is a meritocracy. It is merit-based. That's what brings people together. Because the idea that, oh, black people were inferior to this race, or this race is inferior to this race. Think about that. You go play sports. People have to play together, work together, train together. And then they see people for their real character. So that actually brings people together. And I saw a comment that said that these displays do nothing. No. That is wrong, my friend. These displays do a lot. The biggest thing that these displays do by the players, by the owners, by the coaches, whoever it is, it brings things to light. It brings things to light. And also, then the question is, who came together over Kaepernick? Everybody is coming together now, because there was that idea that I just talked about, that racism was gone, that there was no more prejudice, that everything was equal and all these things, and that these issues don't matter. But now when you can't ignore them, it actually allows people to come together even more, because you can't be ignored. And then when the people who are in power, or the people who ignored it, and said, it's not a big deal, blah, 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 who weren't going to speak up, now they are forced to listen. And some of those people are speaking up because they have the courage to do it now. And it starts with one person. Tell me one solution that came about because of these displays. These Confederate statues are coming down right now as we speak. That's one thing. And the other thing is that you have people. Well, actually, I'll start with this, that it's a process. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. And you have people who have been enlightened and see things out in the world in a different way. And the idea that we are going to ignore problems and ignore issues for other people and not speak up because we just don't want to make waves, that's wrong. That's wrong. And as long as we as a country, we as in our own communities, ignore things that have happened that are wrong, that are going on that are wrong, you are going to continue to have discord amongst people. So all of this brings up healing. It brings up a conversation. Because like I said before on here, I've gone to therapy. One of the ways that you get better, one of the ways that you do better is acknowledging stuff that's going on, acknowledging how you feel, realizing how you feel, acknowledging the past, and doing something different. So right now we're in an acknowledging phase right now. Then we can move on to the processing of it and doing something different. That's where we're at right now. So that's where the positive things that are changing. Because I know we all want instant results. Like, we live in a microwave society. We want to lift weights one day. We want to train, gain, and then have results. No, train, gain, repeat, train, gain, repeat, train, repeat, train, repeat, train, repeat. And then you can get some gain. Oh, man. It's funny because sometimes as soon as I think that we are going in the right direction, I realize that people who are not affected by issues don't really think that these issues exist or think that they're a big deal. And they also want microwave healing. Like I said, who's been healed? We are in a constant place of healing at this point. Okay, so it's just like if you tear your ACL or you break your arm and you don't go to the doctor to get it fixed and you just walk around with it, yeah, it's going to heal on its own. You're going to be able to use it and function, but it's not going to be optimal. And then to actually fix the problem and correct it, what do you have to do? You have to do a little damage. So you actually do have to break it a little bit. And then you do have to repair the ACL. You have to cut the leg open, attach the graft, all of these things. That's how you fix it. What is my solution to the racial issues? My solution to the racial issues is this. A, we continue to talk about it. And we have to do something different in terms of acknowledging that these things are wrong. So you have to have some sort of reparations. The same way that if you cheat on your wife, you have to do something different. You have to change your pattern of behavior. That's what I mean by reparations. You don't need to give out money. You don't need to give out handouts or anything like that. Because in this country, you should have to earn what you get. You should have to earn what you get. So that's my solution, is to acknowledge, change, do something different. That's how you solve the racial issues in this country. Same way that you solve any problem with your family. If I get in an argument with my sister, or I get in an argument with my wife, I get in an argument with my best friend, and I do something wrong or they do something wrong to affect me. A lot of times these things don't heal until somebody says sorry. And then after you do it, you can't go back and repeat the same mistakes. You have to drop it and do something different. So, for instance, with the police, let's take the police for example. How do you solve the problem with the police? When there is an unjust shooting, those people need to be prosecuted, because police officers are good people. Police officers are trying to be out there doing the right things. However, there are some criminals that do have badges. Those are not police officers. Those are criminals. Make no mistake. And when criminals do things wrong, they need to be prosecuted. The same way that a regular citizen is. The same exact way. That's how you solve the police issue. And then those things will stop. No, you don't need a national day of apology. I mean, like this is where we take things to extreme and we aren't really being serious. There is no national day of apology. What you just do is you say, you know what? We have a history in this country of taking things from people, from Native Americans, taking black people from their country, taking what it is that we want, right? We have a history of that. We have to do better. We are going to do something different. And by that means acknowledging it. That just means taking down Confederate monuments, not honoring people, and making laws that can continue to disenfranchise people. that make it harder for people of color to vote. These things, these are how you fix the issues. If there were, see, that's where if there was an unjust shooting against a white person, they should be prosecuted as well. It shouldn't be a race issue. The problem is that when there are unjust shootings, people are not prosecuted. That's what makes people angry. Like this, like, I know this may sound harsh, but if there is a police shooting, right, of a black person, white person, whatever it is, and it is unjust, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter race, color, or creed. That person should be prosecuted. But the problem is, it just seems like when black people end up getting shot, it just doesn't seem to get the same prosecution and results that other people get. That's all I'm saying. That's where the anger grows. It's not in the actual act. It's in the result of it. Because I guarantee you that there would be less officer-involved shootings of unarmed people if those criminals were put in jail for that. If they were. So that's how you start one of the things. Yeah. That's what we got for today on Right or Wrong. I appreciate you guys joining me. You guys are amazing. We will catch you guys tomorrow. Please like the feed, share the feed, retweet it, whatever it is that you do. Make sure we're here every day. Peace out.